I'm Joe, and I got my co-host here, Mike. We represent Digital Hustles, pretty much a podcast about digital making money in the digital space. We're two entrepreneurs, pretty much running our own thing. We come with two different perspectives, whereas he runs a full-time job and on the business side, and I'm fully into the business. And we just kind of here to share our story. First thing we're going to talk about is finding motivation. I know that's the hardest thing is always trying to get started. So I want to kind of get it from Mike of how do you balance having a full-time job and having entrepreneur things you want to do?
Well, let me be honest, it's not always easy. And most of the time, it's actually pretty difficult. You work 8 hours a day or more. You got to travel, you got to eat. Hopefully, you got to exercise. And then you got to get right back to work. It's nonstop, man. It can really crush your motivate. It can really crush you as a person and bring you down. But you got to know that you're working really hard for a reason.
Yeah. And I think from my perspective, my unique perspective is I'm kind of in a unique spot because if I don't work, I don't eat. So I think that's one of the safety nets that having a full-time job is that you can kind of fall back on it and you can say, okay, I have this security, so it's okay. I can kind of balance both. Whereas my perspective is if I don't do something today, I'm not gonna make no money.
Exactly. And for a lot of people that can be pretty terrifying, but in the same breath that you hear a lot of people, oh, I quit my job and I started a food truck. And if I didn't go in 100%, I wouldn't be where I am today. So, it's a big part of the world and what people have to do. And it's really hard to make that jump. And you really have to dedicate yourself and believe in yourself and be confident. And that's not always easy. So to do that is really impressive. And, I envy the people that can do that, including yourself, because to really put everything you got into your dreams and know that you're going to do whatever it takes to make yourself a success is a big deal. And it goes a long way and it inspires other people.
And I guess one of the hard things is like overcoming negatives. So something me and Mike know in doing marketing is we think we have a foolproof route. We're going to just do this and go fully into it and it's going to work this way. And things just always come unexpected. So what are some ways that you kind of deal with the unexpected things that always kind of come up and getting over that fear of, hey, something messed up is going to happen. I just need to prepare for it.
Yeah, and that's all you can really do is prepare for it. Be as best as you can with whatever service or product you're selling, whatever you're doing. You just want to know it in and out and be the best you can be in it to be able to provide the support. I work in the IT field, and so a lot of people think I know all the answers to every technology issue there is, right? But that's not the case. I know how to find the answers to the questions and to fix the issues. And so you have to trust in yourself, trust in your team if you have one. If you don't have one, trust in yourself being able to do the research and find the resources and sit down and spend the time learning it and training on it to become better, to be able to provide those things for your customers. And when you can do that, you're going to shine. You're going to stand out from, Joe Schmo over here who's like, oh, I don't know,
Uh, question to you: how do you find? I know a question a lot of people have is, how do you find the thing that you're going to go fully in, or how do you know it's that thing? Because a lot of times people may think, okay, I want to do this, like start a car wash, but you don't know if you want to do it forever, so you don't fully want to go into it. How do you, from your perspective, know this is something I'm going to go fully in? I think I'm willing to like put 100% into this.
Well, honestly, we have, even just us, in our relationship, we've had so many great ideas, stuff that we just know could work, and we just got to spend the time doing it. But how can I fully commit to this one thing? And it's pretty hard to do that. And you gotta find something you love to do, because when you love to do it, people say it's not work. I don't know. I'm not there yet, but I would love to figure that part out, because that's what you want. You don't want to have to work every day. You want to come in and just take care of people and be happy and spread that joy and work hard and show others that how to lead. A lot of that stuff's really important, but finding what you care about is not always the easiest thing. In fact, it's pretty hard, whether it's even sports or hobbies or just things you're trying to learn new things. It's hard to find interest sometimes. And so when you do find something you really like, especially when it's business related, or you can really see a path or a future in whatever you're trying to accomplish and whatever you're trying to do, then you just got to go for it. You don't have to go fully in all the time, right? You can take baby steps and then work your way to get there, so that you can see some of your successes along the way instead of just thinking you're going to become, famous overnight. So, Joe, being a full-time entrepreneur, how do you find the motivation to stay busy, to keep going at it, even when times are tough?
Uh, I think it's mostly my kids. So being wanting to provide a better life for them than I had, obviously. Uh, I think that and just wanting to innovate. So I feel like I'm just like a natural innovator. So I kind of want to come up with things, kind of push out in the world, and like, yeah, sometimes it goes good, sometimes it goes bad. But what I found a lot of times is sacrifice. Like being an entrepreneur, you kind of have to be willing to sacrifice. And that's one thing I learned. It's not always the person who has the brightest idea, but it's the person who's willing to give up kind of the most for it. So that person that's willing to go sleepless like I do, or like going from city to face.
Whether it's sleep or money or relationships or time, I bet.
Yeah. And I think the biggest fear in it from that perspective is like kind of getting to the point of knowing what you're chasing. Because I've definitely got to the point of I chase money and I kind of look back and I have money. I'm like, oh, this really doesn't make me that happy. And I missed all this time.
Got to have that perfect work-life balance. And that's what it's all about, is trying to find that, especially in today's world when, so many people want to work remote. So, and not as many people are willing to go back in person, and everyone's trying to make their side hustle their main thing. And you just see a shift in how people view that work-life balance. And I definitely agree that, it should be, life's not all about work. And so to hear you say, you have to invest so much of yourself to only miss out on your life and your opportunities actually being in the moment instead of working all the time.
And I think that's the gamble you take, is like, you could do all of that and it doesn't pay off. And you right back where you started and you missed 5 birthday parties of your kids' birthday parties and stuff, or it can go the other way. And just thankfully for me, it's kind of went in a good direction. But of course, it's definitely ups and downs. It's definitely making bad investments, making like I think most people know about buying Bitcoin or anything like that. You kind of riding away with something and it just doesn't work out. And you feel a little down about it. And like, oh man, I kind of missed out on all this for that.
Gotcha. And overcoming that negativity is a big part of it, and that's how, if you can't get past that, you can't really continue to stay motivated. And if you don't stay motivated, you're not going to do what you need to do to become successful. And that's what we see a lot of times is people, we were talking about this a little earlier, people will start something or have a really good idea, even maybe, get a logo or something like that, and just never really follow through and follow up. So, we got to figure out how to help everybody, stay motivated and things like that. So when you started your business, how were you able to network and build relationships with other vendors or even other just people in your industry?
Yeah, so mine didn't originally start off as a business. I started off freelancing, doing like side projects. So a lot of them was meeting through like freelancing sites, but also joining like every type of industry you want to go in. They normally have clubs or foundations. So like in marketing, there's the American Marketing Association or Ad Club. So I kind of would join them. I would go to events. I would shadow people. I would like just meet people and be like, hey, I want to learn about this ads. I don't really got to get paid. And I did a lot of free work. Like,
Gotcha. And so do you think it's worth people going to these events and like, I know like Google, for instance, they have a big event, and after when you get certified, you can go and spend some time there and do some learning and get your credentials and points and things like that. Do you really think it's worth it?
I think it depends on the person. So I don't really like big corporate events like that, just because I don't feel like I fit with, and that's stereotypical kind of. A lot of times they want you to kind of innovate their way and think their way, and I think I'm just a kind of out of the box thinker. So I like more of like those gritty entrepreneur business, like a bunch of other people that's just got startups and maybe they're not anywhere and they just want to loop up together. So that's kind of what I like. So I think you just gotta find your cup of tea.
Yeah. Do you ever go to any like local events, business events like that, networking events?
Not really, but I will say where I meet the most people and network the most is at the airport.
Airport, that's pretty interesting. Can you go a little further into that?
Yeah, so like most of the business people I've met, like I've met a lot of private equity people and things like that. It's been sitting at a bar waiting for a flight, and I just so happened to sit next to a guy, and and he's like, And I'm like working on my computer or something, and he's talking, and we just end up talking like, "Hey, what do you do?" And I tell him marketing. It's like, "Oh, I have a need for marketing, or I need some advice in marketing." And I kind of just slowly kind of built my network kind of out that way.
That's awesome. You don't really think about that, but if you have that full time, if you're in it full time and you get to travel, you get to kind of go to some of those places and just meet some random people. So that's awesome. That's an interesting spot to meet people, to connect, network. So how do you define being successful in what you've done and what you've accomplished?
Yeah, so I think it's ultimately for me. It recently changed. So at first, it was money. Obviously, of course, is what I wanted. But I think now, kind of what I want is like legacy. So kind of like my success of like I saw an interesting thing online. It was like Kanye West, and he was saying the biggest thing I want to be known for is nothing. Like I want people to forget me. And it's weird that we want people to forget, but like for instance, think about the stoplight. Who invented the stoplight? or like who invented the washing machine? And this is the kind of things we're talking about. And it's like, and it hit me. It was like, yeah, I don't want to be remembered. I just want my adventure or whatever I came out with to kind of be, standing.
Well, I totally get that, and also the want and desire to bring everybody up around you. I as I go through life, I notice people like a lot of people are really content in where they're at and what they're doing, and they don't really aspire for more, and that's okay. But when you surround yourself with people that are always trying to do better, and and you guys can collaborate and actually make something, seeing something like that grow and sprout, and even if you're mildly successful and you're having time and you're having a lot of fun with your friends and whoever you're doing it with, your business partner, that can be just so thrilling and so exciting on its own. And that's what can keep a lot of people going too. And so you just got to keep your head down and keep driving and keep going forward.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things I really like is like bringing other people up. So like, I think that's something about me is that I kind of find a wave or find something to do it, and I immediately want to kind of share with everybody. And that is one thing that kind of like bringing people up with you. There's twofold. There's some people that have the aspect of it's better to go on the road alone, things like that. But I found that it's very lonely. The biggest thing of like I think people have a problem with today is being uncomfortable. Like that was something you touched on that like resonated with me. It's like people have a hard time getting over what's comfortable for them. And like I think that's something that's been unique about me is that I constantly force myself to be in an uncomfortable situation. It's like I'll do something, put all my money in it, and I'm like, I don't even know how I'm gonna eat.
But I know I got to do something to
yeah,
food.
yeah. It's, so and it can kind of pay off. So I think you kind of, if I got a tip to leave people is like, get comfortable being uncomfortable.
I love that saying, and I resonate with that so much as well because it really it's true. The things that you want the most aren't going to be easy. It's going to be hard, and you got to keep going to be able to do that. So you better get comfortable being uncomfortable. 100%.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is like something I told me a while ago is like there's probably half of the country who wakes up in the morning and say, I should go to the gym today. But there's only like a quarter of those people that actually be like, I'm gonna just push through this and go to the gym, even though I don't want to. And it's like,
And I think that's most of it. Most of the time people don't want to, people want to just take the easy way out. And that's what they don't realize is it doesn't always need to be a full workout. You don't have to go and hit the gym for 3 hours as hard as you can. You can change up your exercise, make it fun so it lasts, so that it doesn't get stale and so that it doesn't seem so monotonous all the time or like a chore. You don't want those things to feel like a chore, the things that you got to do every single day. Like obviously some of them are chores and you got to do what you got to do, but realistically, I don't want to be working all day every day. I don't want to get off of my 8-hour job and go hit the gym and be dragging ass because I don't want to be there. You gotta find a way to want to be there. But yeah, definitely. I think that, people nowadays, you have to step out of that comfort zone. You have to, or else you're not going to be as successful as you can be. A lot of people have a lot of potential, but if nobody acts on that, you're never going to get anywhere. That's all you're going to be is just a guy who could have, or a person who could have. instead of a guy who did. Even if I tried and failed, at least we tried. Being uncomfortable is putting yourself out there. Like we were just talking about in those networking events. I don't want to be there, but I'm there, so I'm going to make the most of it. I'm going to reach out to people, even though it makes me uncomfortable. I might get rejected a couple times, but it's a numbers game. You got to keep shooting.
I think that's the thing too, is that there's no easy path. So a lot of times people think they find the motivation in thinking that it's an easy path. Like one thing that bugs me is like those online classes of like, hey, I want to tell you this way to get rich quick or do something quickly. And it just doesn't, what's worked out for one person doesn't always work out for everybody. And that I feel victim in that. Like I bought a bunch of online courses of starting marketing agencies and a bunch of stuff like that. I tried all of their strategies and none of them worked for me. So
Trial and error.
Yeah. Good.
Sorry.
I had to cut you off.
No, I literally was just saying trial and error. If you don't try, you gotta, sometimes you're gonna fail but you learn from those failures. You get up and what happened? Why did it happen this way? Evaluate those things, because otherwise you're wasting that opportunity of learning. And all you're gonna get away with it, or all you're gonna walk away with thinking is, oh, I'm upset, this failed, I'm frustrated, upset, and angry, instead of like, oh dang, next time I'm gonna do it this way because I know now not to do it that way.
That's all we got for you today on Digital Hustle. I hope you enjoyed it. Next time, we're going to be talking about like the first steps in starting a business. And I think you'll be able to follow us on this path of, we're kind of creating a story here of like the initial point of waking up, getting motivation and wanting to actually start the business, all the way to the point of actually having a business and getting successful. And I hope you follow us on this journey.